Today in America, we face a new form of slavery, a form of slavery that is much more common in the land of the free. This form of slavery is better known as sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is a current epidemic that is rampaging across not just southern United States or the north, but is a pandemic across the entire nation. According to a recent study done by Fortune magazine, 9,000 cases were reported this past fiscal year in 2018, a 13% increase from the year before. Most people think of sex trafficking as a cliche or something that just doesn't happen around these parts, but that's just simply not true. It's occurring in our backyard more than ever. A recent study done by CNN has shown that Texas is extremely affected by this epidemic, with over 2,000 cases being reported in 2018. It's rampaging across the South. A lot of it has to do with us being so close to Mexico, which happens to be one of the top 3 sex trafficking places worldwide. It is a very scary time, but there's much data to show that it's not going down anytime soon. According to a 2019 CNN report, Houston is illegal sex industry brought in nearly $290 million in a fiscal year. That is over, in some cases, reported $32,000 for one sex trafficker a week. Harris County Police Department, a county in southeast Houston, stated that they have never seen a problem quite like this and that they're really not sure how to begin. He also stated that the largest problem is simply the American public turning a blind eye to it. He said that it's not that they don't care, it's just that they're misinformed. Sex trafficking is typically overshadowed by other world events. It's just how, unfortunately, it is. From politics to social issues, war, disease, the coronavirus currently, it's just there's always something else going on, and it's causing this horrible thing to be swept under the rug. The U.S. currently is ranked number 2 in the world in sex trafficking and human trafficking cases. It is tied with the Philippines and only lost behind 1 to Mexico, and which leads into another large problem in Texas, our own backyard, is that we border with Mexico. This border affair between the current state of sex trafficking in the United States mixed in with the current state of sex trafficking and human trafficking just south of our neighbors in Mexico creates just a horrible whirlwind effect, which eventually leads to Texas being a hot zone for this horrible epidemic. The largest problem, which was stated by Dr. Jeff Rogers, stated that the U.S. is the number 1 consumer of sex worldwide. We as a society are driving the demand. He puts onto the fact that American industry is driven by sex, that it's much deeper than just sex trafficking. If you look at porn views within the United States, we rank number 1 in worldwide by a very large margin per capita to our population, even compared to other larger countries. Sex drives the American economy. And this is just an unfortunate byproduct of that, says Dr. Jeff Bruce. He goes on to state that if there is one takeaway from my research, it is that the industry is fueled by an unceasing demand. He states it is simple economics, supply and demand. There is simply such a great demand for these underage girls, these younger women, that there's bound to be business there. And he says it's unfortunate, but the U.S. government, thankfully, there's hope, because the U.S. government, President Trump in particular, has laid claim to this and has made it very clear that he will do what he can to combat this. There is a lot of legislation in Congress that is being discussed right now to help combat this, and it's even smaller than that, down to your local and state government. Governor Greg Abbott has recently come out to say that he is putting all of his attention and resources towards fighting the human trafficking epidemic, which is great because there is a bright path leading forward to this. However, there are red flags. Like I said, in Texas alone, it is an extremely potent thing, epidemic occurring right now. So red flags to look out for younger women, even younger men. Distraction methods are a very large thing. So when sex traffickers are looking to kidnap a woman or take advantage of a woman or even a young man, they tend to look for someone by themselves, of course. And a very common method seen that actually Harris County Police Department again warned against is they will take zip ties and tie them to door handles or car mirrors. So you're getting back from the shopping mall, the grocery store, you're walking to your car, and you see the zip tie. So you start to fiddle with it, you're distracted. Next thing you know, behind you, you're grabbed, and it's over. So that's one thing to look out for. Another thing is always be aware of your surroundings. Notice if there's a man following you around, giving you extremely weird vibes or just uncomfortable feelings. Be aware of that. Do not be distracted. Don't blow that off. Be extremely proactive in your ability to notice your surroundings, whether it's at the grocery store, the shopping mall, anywhere in particular that you are alone and are at risk. You must pay attention to your surroundings. However, like I said, legislation is being passed. There is hope. In the Barack Obama administration, it was mentioned, but it wasn't really a focal point. Thankfully, over the years, as more research has come out stating how extremely horrible and how rampant this is throughout the United States, it has put pressure on our current government, not just President Trump, but also our current legislation in Congress and the Senate, to really put a strong focus on that. And so there is hope. There is legislation being passed to fight this. The communities, not just in Texas, but throughout the nation, have begun to really rally around the idea of putting a stop and putting extreme hampering on this growing epidemic. So there is hope, and people just need to unite and fight this horrible pandemic. Thank you.